Hi guys, it's Kelly here and I am back with a video featuring the new release from Colorado Craft Company and Chris Lauren. Today I am using the Knitting Bear, the Present Bear, and the Mint Stockings Mini and their coordinating dies. We're going to be doing a scene card. It's a long video because it's a scene card. And so I did have to speed up some of the Copic coloring, but I just kind of wanted to show you how I put everything together. You guys know I like to leave everything in the video. So I am stamping these down. I'm going to mask them and then I'm going to do some Distress Ink blending. Why am I rushing to tell you that? So I can tell you about the blog hop and your chances to win. So the way Colorado Crafts does their winners, which I think is pretty cool, first they give away one set along each stop on the hop. So if you're watching on YouTube, make sure that you head over to the blog in the link below so that you have a chance to win. But then they also do a whole bundle giveaway based on the affiliate links. So like a person who shops through my affiliate link, which down below it'll say, Colorado Crafts Company store, and then the affiliate link will be next to it, will win the entire release. So I think that that's super cool that they do things that way because, that it's a way to show appreciation to their designers that are sending sales their way, as well as give you guys an opportunity to win. So that's super cool. But yeah, so this is like a combination scene card with some stamping in the background and then some dies placed on top. So I chose Iced Spruce as my carpet color. I just thought it was a little bit more of a festive neutral, but like surely any gray or beige or anything would work like that. So once I'm done with the carpet, I'm going to move my tape. I'm going to clean my area up first off my glass mat, which, as you guys know, if you've been watching the channel, I also have a coupon for below. But then when I place the tape back down, I'm actually going to leave a little bit of a gap that's going to act as my trim, like in between the wall and the carpet. And then, like nobody is surprised, the wall color Uncharted Mariner. Yes, it's beautiful. I would paint walls in my house this color if I liked dark paint. I would definitely use this color. So I just did that, a little bit of ink blending on there. And then that's pretty much going to be it for the background for now. So this is the completed. I'm going to remove the masks and then I will just set it aside. The stamping, you could totally tell I was a hot mess when I was making this card. I was so rushed. It's just been a crazy week. I know you guys know if you watched yesterday's video that it was Miss Caitlin's first birthday. And so today, which is actually yesterday for me doing the voiceover, we're having her party. And it's been a little bit crazy, and you guys know. So here, there's a little yarn ball for this knitting of the stocking, which is adorable, but I didn't want it to be black. So I'm going in with a baby wipe, and I'm just cleaning up that little bit of a line. It doesn't have to be perfect because I'm going to stamp over it in a color, but I'm going to get as close as I can. And then I actually double stamped this. I'm not going to show you both of them because, like I said, I know it's a longer video. But I did stamp it twice, both times cleaning up that line. Now I'm going to go in with a red ink. This is actually Cherry from Hero Arts, but you could use whatever color you'd like the scarf to be. And then I am going to clean up the red as best as I can. It's stamping over black, so it's not like a huge deal, but I wanted it to be the color that I wanted the scarf to be. So I'm stamping that down, and this one I stamped twice as well. And then that way you can see that little, ball of string, that little yarn is stamped in red. I'm going to go in with a Copic Safe marker. You can use microns, you can use Copic multi-liners to go in there and just fix any of the lines that maybe we're missing. And then we're going to get into the coloring. So I opted to color my bear white. Again, you could totally color them whatever, a brown bear, a black bear, they come in all kinds of colors, a gray bear even. He'll look like a gray bear while I'm coloring him, but once our whole scene gets put together, he will look like a white bear because we're just adding in our shadows. I am coloring everything because I'm picturing this scene in my mind, remember? I'm coloring everything as if my light source is in the center of the card. So my bear is sitting to the our left, if we're looking at it, our left of the fireplace. And so his shadows are going to be down and to the left, and his lightest areas will kind of be up and to the right. That's how I colored everything. For the penguin, he's kind of more center, like right center. So his like lightest portions are actually going to be around his edges. The glow will be around his edges. Yes, we're going to do a glow. There's a fireplace. One thing to note in the coloring of the penguin, I started coloring him like his belly white, and then I realized once I went to go color him black, like the rest of his body, that portion next to the scarf to the right of the scarf isn't actually his belly, it's the rest of his body. The end of his belly is hidden underneath his scarf. So I did change that. I just went through and colored up this little present where the lid sits on top. There'll be some shadows. And then I just added some shadows kind of to the left and the right side of the ribbon. I gave my little polar bear some little pink toesies and some blushed cheeks and some little pink ears, just because it's cute. And then we're going to move on to the penguin. And like I said, he's more center right. So his shadows are going to be dead center. Like that's where he will be the darkest. So his lightest portions will be on either side of his arm and the top of his head, which kind of looks a little bit crazy. But when you put it into the scene, it all makes sense. You know, like that's the thing about incorporating dyes and not doing a masked one layer scene. It sometimes can be a little bit more challenging to visualize it. And if it helps, you certainly could kind of lay them out into your scene before coloring. But I get frustrated with chasing die cuts around, so I choose to color them before I die cut them. So then once he's done, here's the part where I totally realized I didn't even stamp my stockings. These stockings are mini, so they're super cute, and they fit perfectly on this little fireplace. But the die is all, like I didn't want to have to chase the die all around. So I just left it as one piece, and then I lined up the stockings right on top of it, picked it up with my Misty Door, and stamped them down. That way they were in the correct place to die cut them as all one piece. I know that not everybody feels that way about die cuts, but I do. I don't really love them. I mean, I think that they can do some cool things, and I'm grateful for them when I don't want to have to fussy cut out an image, but they're a struggle for me. I don't like little finicky pieces. For the scarf, I obviously decided to go with red. You guys knew that when you saw me stamp it. And I am then coloring it again. The light source is in the middle. So for the bear, the portion of the scarf that'll be on the bear, his highlights are going to be on the right-hand side of the scarf, and the shadows will be on the left. For my penguin, his shadows are going to be directly in the middle. And then for the little piece of scarf that's kind of trailing off, it will actually just be up top. That'll be the lightest portion. So I did do something a little bit different with the scarf because I wanted it to look like it had some texture. You know, have you ever seen anything that anybody knitted that didn't have some kind of texture? Honestly, it's made with fuzzy yarn. So when I was going back through lightest to darkest, darkest to lightest, on my way back from darkest to lightest, I used one of my midtones to kind of do like a little crosshatch pattern into the scarf. It's not going to be terribly noticeable in the darkest portions, but it wouldn't be in real life because that would be in shadow. You will be able to see it, however, in the lightest portions. And it's just going to give it some added texture and something just more interesting in our scene to look at. So yeah, I did do the present red, the ribbon red, and portions of our stockings red, but I will show you all of those same things just in different colors. So here we're going to bring in some browns, This is a little bit different. And so I decided, like you can see the cute little upholstery tacks in the chair, which I think is adorable, but I decided I kind of wanted to do them as like accent panels. I knew I was going to have a brown mantle for my fireplace, and so this was just another way to incorporate the brown in there and create some cohesiveness in my design. And it's my chair and I can do what I want. So I think it looks super cool. I went in, and again, this chair will be under my bear's tush. So that's all of the shading is to the left because my light source is to the right. And so I felt like 3 colors was more than enough for these, small areas. And then for the mantle, the light source is actually underneath it. So my darkest portion will be on the edges and then at the top. So when we're talking about light source, this one is pretty centralized because it's a fireplace in the center of the room. And so it will hit all things, the light hits all things differently. And again, me showing my hot mess life here, completely forgot to stamp the actual fire in the fireplace, which will be the source of light for this entire card. So I just filled my grate in with some grays. Honestly, that part's not really going to matter because by the time I get done shading in all of the fire, you're not really even going to be able to see it. So I did my log brown, and then I went back to the other items that needed to be colored. I chose some navy blues for my chair because I thought that matched the Uncharted Mariner pretty well. And then I'm going to use color glazing to completely change the tone of it. So here you can see I switched out to a Chow marker because again, that one clearly needed to be re-inked and I don't have time for that. So I just switched to the same marker in a different form of marker to fill it in. And again, this chair is to the left of the light, so all of the shadows will be down and to the left. For her party, I'm super excited because it seems like we're actually going to have decent weather. And I was not expecting that at all in November. It seems like it's going to be into the 70s, which makes me very excited for seating because we're going to have about 30 people at our house, which is a lot. I mean, not maybe for a bigger, I was going to say revenue, but that's not what I mean. A bigger, you know what I'm saying, an area where people gather together and venue. That's the word I want. A bigger venue. But for my own home, 30 people is quite a bit of people. So with all of the party things this week and Halloween, I kind of got a little bit backed up on the things that needed to get done. And I'm sure that means I'm going to be up late tonight, which is my own doing, and I have nobody to blame for it but myself. But that's kind of the way parties go, I feel like. Like, it just happens to you. No matter how early you start or the best of tensions that you have, the party just sneaks up on you and gets the better of you. So, yeah. Here is where we're going to go in with the color glazing. I kind of was looking at it and I was like, it's not as green as I need it to be. So I pulled out a couple of different greens and I ended up going with a BG07. It's close enough to, a BG09. I'm going to color right over it because this is the 90s family. And so my darkest navy blue is a B99. So that's going to play very nicely with my B09. And it made it teal. Just like that. Just snap, crackle, pop, boom, bang. It's teal. And I love it. It's beautiful. I think it matches the wall color perfectly. For the coloring of the box, again, we're going to be, the stockings are like matte. I just picked one side or the other because the light source is from the bottom. So, but for the box, where the lid sits on top, it will be darker, and where the ribbon's laying on top of it, it will be darker. So they're almost like center shading down the middle, and then a little bit on the bottom and a little bit under the lid. That one's pretty self-explanatory, I feel like. So yeah, party snuck up on me because Halloween, it's wild. Halloween is always wild. We had great weather. And then Tuesday, I had to go and finish getting the stuff for her party and make sure that I had her balloons in order, which I do need to pick up for the party, the day of the party. But I'm doing all of her cakes and cupcakes and stuff. It's such a time we're living in. Like, I remember when Nathan was younger, and he's only 9, guys. Like, it's not like it was super long time ago. But, like, I had to paint a Wally Kazam mural because there wasn't any party decorations. And for like this one, I was able to find like a party decoration kit, and it came with like cupcake wrappers and a cake decorations and tablecloth, and like everything is just like in this kit, and I could just pick it up and go. How fantastic. I don't even know what happened to that mural I painted of Wally Kazam so that he would have a backdrop for his party. So here for the fireplace, I went with a white fireplace. I thought it matched our white trim, and it's a bit more modern, so I thought that would be a little bit fun. And I'm adding shading. Again, the light source is in the center, so a lot of it is behind it so that this front portion of brick kind of pops out. And then on the baseboards, the little trim area, I am adding some shading behind it because remember the fireplace is coming out from the wall, so there would be a little shadow back there. And then to the edges just so it doesn't look weird. And then that was it. I used the same C markers I used for the bear. Now, the fire. We're moving on to the fire. These are going to look like seriously bright colors comparative to everything else we have going on. But it's really not once it's all put together. So I started with a little bit of a medium red and then went in with a dark orange, blended that out with a medium orange, and then blended that out with like a darker yellow. You saw me show you the markers. I used a Y19, but I really would have chose a Y08 if I had it correctly inked, which again, it needs to be re-inked. Can you tell that I'm running short on time in my life in general? So here, I'm going to die cut all of the things so I can have everything in place before I add any of the light to it. So I'm going to die cut those out. And I did just want to mention the chair die cut is solid. So you wouldn't even have to stamp it. You could just cut the die cut. But in order to get it lined up with my stamp, I just hold it up to the light and then make sure everything is evenly spaced around the stamping. And that has worked pretty well for me. And then I just add my tape to hold it in place from the front. And here is my chair. Really love the chair. Think it's totally cute. Put my little bear in his chair. But then I realized that he didn't actually look like he was in the chair because he was covering up the one arm. So I'm going to cheat. I'm going to modify my die cut. I'm going to go in with my scissors and I'm actually going to cut along that arm. So up the leg of the chair and along that arm to the corner. And this is going to create like an arm rest flap that I can slide my bear into in my scene. And now he is actually sitting in the chair, which I like. It does cover up a little bit of my knitting string, but I'm actually okay with it because I feel like it just looks like it fell on the floor. So here I am going to add a little bit of glue, if it will work. Again, my whole life is a mess right now. So I'm going to add a little bit of glue to that flap. I'm going to make sure that I have good placement for where I want to put it. And then I'm going to slide my bear into it and glue that right on top of my bear. In order to further secure it, I am going to put just a little piece of, you can use washi tape or I'm using masking tape behind it to make sure it's not going to go anywhere before I add glue to it and then adhere it into my scene. Should I have started from the back to the front? Yes, I should have. I should have probably done the stockings first, but I didn't. I was very excited about my bear. So I put the bear down first and everything in here I just glued flat. There's kind of multiple layers because die cuts are on top of die cuts, which I'm fine with. I don't think that that's any issue and I don't think it adds too much bulk for mailing. So I'm putting that in there, making sure, and this stamp go like with the chair goes like edge to edge on my A2 size card, which is why I had to be so careful about the placement of where I put the chair, so that nothing was hanging over. And then I went in, did my stockings in front of my little fireplace, and then glued down my presents. There is a tree in the present bear, I think it is. Yeah, the present bear set. And I thought about adding that in to that kind of right-hand corner. But I honestly was like, I had so much going on in the scene, I thought it might be a little bit too much. So I decided I would just put the presents there, and that would kind of be sufficient for me as far as decor. Then you guys know I don't love my die cuts. So I'm going to go in and I'm going to take out this white outline so that everything blends in. Right now I'm kind of playing around to see what I can find to match my wall color or my carpet. If you have a hex chart, that's very helpful in picking colors. Don't be afraid to combine two colors. For anything that was on the rug or on the chair, like I colored it, so I know what the color combination is to make the other like part of the die cut disappear, but that does involve me using two colors, which is not a big deal. So for the floor, I ended up using a BG72, but then I went over it with my C3 to kind of make it a little bit more gray and less bright, and that worked for me as well. So sometimes you just got to combine colors to find a way to make it work, and that's totally okay. So yeah, I just feel like, and then yesterday we had the wonderful cleaning people come who just saved our lives. Oh my gosh, my house has never been this clean. I take that back. It was that clean when we moved in, but since we've lived here, negative Ghost Rider. And so that was a little bit of an interruption. I had to clean out the refrigerator to make room for all the party groceries. So it's just kind of been like a shortened work week for me. So I feel very rushed. Here, I'm adding in some shadows. I know that this seems like maybe it's a little bit much for some people, but if you start practicing and just do like very general shapes, like here with the chair, I didn't follow the shape of the chair. I just did a very general shape, and it still works. For the penguin, again, I just did a more oval shape. And then for the scarf, since it's so thin, it was really just like a little line that kind of mirrored what was already drawn there. And it looks super cool. Like it just makes your card look extra cool. For the presents, they're just squares. So I put them off at an angle and then added like a little loop on top for the bow. And then the same thing for the other present. It runs into, like that green present shadow runs into the other present. So I really just had to kind of make another little square that connected to it. For the glow, I'm going in with a Y11. I realized pretty quickly that this was probably a little light for some of the colors I had down there. It wasn't too light for anything that was colored white. So the bear or the fireplace, like it wasn't too light for any of that, but it was having a hard time showing up on some of the, like this darker teal, the black. And so I went in with the Y11, and then I also went in with a Y08 and then blended it back out with the Y11. I found that gave me a better glow, especially in some of the darker colors. The only thing I will warn you about is just be careful kind of going color to color. You can see I saved my red, losing my voice, I apologize. My red present for last, because if I did the red present first and then I took that Y11 to my polar bear without cleaning it, I will for sure bring some of the red with me. So I tried to start with my lighter colors and then work back to my darkest. The Y08 was probably a little strong for my bear. I may have some regrets about doing it that strong of a yellow, but that's okay. I think it all turned out, like it all shook out in the end. It was all right. So here's me blending it back out. And then I am going to go in and do the floor in front of the fireplace as well, to give it that kind of yellow glow. After I was done and had put it out, like put it all down, I did go back in with a C1 and just kind of blend out the edges of it to make it a little bit more gray like the rest of the carpet. And I also used the C1 to blend out the yellow on my bear. I just went back in there real quick and just kind of blended it out so that his yellow wasn't quite as strong. So now, I mean, we're pretty much done with all the scene building. I stamped my sentiment. This particular sentiment is from the knitting bear, and it says Christmas is about doing something a little extra for someone you love, which I think is super cute. I just added a little bit of shading again with that iced spruce because I wanted it to look like a picture or a wall hanging over the fireplace to kind of complete my scene. And this I just glued down flat as well to kind of just bring it all together. The last thing that I did, nobody is surprised here because it's my channel, is anywhere that the light touched, you know, like the Lion King, anywhere that the light touched, I added glitter. Because glitter is fun and beautiful, and I like how it completes my cards. So even the entire floor, I just glittered all of it. Yes, I did. And then that's it. That's the whole thing. So thank you guys so much for joining me. If you feel like you're going to shop, please use that link below so that way you can be entered in for that huge giveaway. And head over to the blog so you don't miss any of your other chances to win. So thank you guys so much. I will catch you on the next video. Bye.